Well, howdy y'all, this is Mike with Fly All Season, and as some of you may know, I am not a pro fly tyer and I am not a guide. I'm just some guy. But when you fly all season, you gotta tie all season as well. Every week brings a new adventure, and every adventure brings a new challenge. And to chase that bite, we gotta have the right flies in our box. So let's take it right now to the vise and see what's cooking up for this week's adventure. And on today's menu, folks, we've got a hot little number, the little scrimp. One of my favorite scud, sow bug, crane fly patterns that I've ever tied. So to get this started, I would just like to preach, as always, create your own adventure with this one. Use the sizes, the dimensions, whatever you want to fit your fly tying needs. Again, this is cooking, not baking, folks. But we're gonna get this fly started with lead wraps. Completely optional, but this is something that I like to do purely because I don't like using split shot. So I would much rather tie my weight into my fly with a tungsten bead and some cheeky lead wire than slapping on a bunch of split shot and, kind of messing with my tippet. But that's just, again, personal preference. The next thing we're gonna add is our copper wire. And this is one of those order of operations flies. We have to think about all the different elements going into this before we start, tying on all our materials and wrapping and blah-de-blah-de-blah. So we're gonna dub up a little butt here, and this is gonna be a yellow. You can, again, choose whatever dubbing colors you like, but for this particular fly, I like yellow, like a bright flashy yellow, and tan. I think it has a nice contrast and it kind of looks like those little scud guys. And the next thing adding is some rubber tubing. This is like a clear brown rubber tubing, and this is going to be like the back of this fly and kind of give it some little antenna as well. But again, we have to think about order of operations here, adding everything in line before we actually start doing all the wrapping and some of the serious, more structural parts of this fly. So we're gonna finish this yellow butt out with just another little dubbing noodle, get that all locked in. And this is where we really start to build up the body of the fly. And this is with a nice tan dubbing. I love this stuff. And what I'm gonna do, again, just create a nice, I would say fatter dubbing noodle than normal, because this is where we start building up the body of this little scrimp. And we wanna kind of give it that humped look of a scud or a sow bug, as well as we can. So make it a little thicker in the middle if you can. Again, this may require a couple noodles because we're really packing on the dubbing here, folks. So yeah, if you need to, like myself, make another dubbing noodle and kind of finish out that body section before we start playing with the rest of this fly. So once that's all locked in, we need to think of order of operations here. So I'm gonna take my copper wire and start making touching wraps forward. Now be very careful as you start to wrap that thick copper wire around that rubber tubing, because this is where the bug gets its segmentation. And again, I don't know how much the trout actually care about the segments. It's more the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and it looks aesthetically pleasing. So make sure you take your time with that and get those wraps right. But once that copper wire is back up towards the bead, we're gonna lock it in and snip it down snug before we then put our rubber tubing over all the rest of that stuff. So with the hard part out of the way, we're really close to finishing up this fly. The last little accent that I usually like to add to this sort of fly is another hotspot on the other end. So we put a yellow butt. Now I'm gonna put a yellow head. So get yourself just a little teeny tiny pinch of that yellow, that bright dubbing, and we're gonna make a little noodle and just kind of put it just at the base where that rubber kind of meets our fly. And then once that's in place, we're gonna lock down that rubber tubing. Again, give it a few good tight wraps and it should cinch down a-okay. But now this fly is basically done. All that we really need to do is kind of clean it up. So clean up the head, make a nice seat for your whip finish to go onto. And then, obviously grab your whip finish tool. I personally like to give it a couple, maybe 2 or 3 good whip finishes, because I don't like using epoxies or glues to finish out my fly. I'd rather just give it a few really tight whip finishes to be confident and know that that thread's gonna stay. But trim your tail, get it nice and snug. And the last step, and this quite possibly is the most important, is that we have to grab our hackle pick and really pick out this fly. We want it to be super, super buggy. All those little fibers from our dubbing are held tight by both that copper wire and our rubber tube. So feel free to go ham on that sucker and really give it some force. But then we're just gonna kind of trim the excess, and that gives us a perfect leg to look that can, again, cover such a wide range of buggy patterns. And that is one little scrimp, hot off the presses. This is one of my favorite flies. It's one of those that covers such a wide range of critters. It could be a scud, it could be a crane fly, it could be, a sow bug, a freshwater shrimp, whatever. Again, whatever it might be, it's just a buggy pattern. I mean, I think it could even look like a caddis at times. This is a great pattern to tie, and to have a couple in your box, it is time consuming to tie. As you can kind of see through the video, there's just a lot of steps. It takes a lot of time. You gotta sit down and be patient with it. From the lead wraps to the copper wraps and all the little steps in between, it can seem like a lot of work for not that flashy of a fly, but let me tell you, it's one of my mainstays. And the reason that I like it so much is because it's heavy. Now, tungsten bead plus lead, that is one compact, dense little fly that I like to use on the top of my rig. So usually when I'm throwing a deep nymph setup, I will have a top fly and a bottom fly. Usually the bottom fly is smaller, not as heavy. I like that second fly to be something like this, that is just, it is heavy, but it's compact, and it's not gonna leave too much of a splash when I am casting. So keep that in mind if you don't like split shot like me. Tying weight into flies like this in a little compact package is just, it's so money. And so in places that freshwater shrimp are present, be it spring creeks, or even places like the Rio Grande that I like to fish, they have things called crane flies. And little patterns like this do just a great job of representing them. And so, folks, that is the little scrimp. I sure hope you like it. I know I keep more than a few of these in my box, so let me know what you think, and yeah, I'll see you on the vise in the next one. Well, hello, hi, howdy, how are you? If you're seeing this, that means you made it to the end of the video. And like always, I just gotta say, thank you so much. And you guys know the deal. As you like and comment and subscribe, all the sharing, it goes into this weird YouTube algorithm. I don't understand it, a little above my pay grade, but it helps and it makes this channel grow. And if you have been paying attention, it's growing so freaking fast, and I have you guys to thank for that. And seriously, it means the world that, yeah, you guys are interested in my adventures and I love taking along with. So if you can't get enough of the fly all season here on YouTube, well, I got some good news for you. You know the deal. We've got the Instagram, the Discord, and the Patreon. Go check those out. All sorts of good stuff over there, and something a little bit new, a little bit hot off the press is the website. So me and my buddy, we cracked down and we've got a sweet little website for y'all. And it kind of chronicles my adventures, giving angler guides as well as the videos. And then it also has like community pages and a store coming soon. But it's a great resource to, yeah, maybe plan for your next adventure, but also join the community. So go check that out. Everything's always linked down below. And before we scoot, I gotta give 3 quick shout outs. First and foremost, the Dry Fly Society for the killer swag. Second would be Ant for their sweet rods. And then finally, Hex, the best landing net on the market. I love this thing. So shout out to them. Thank you for supporting fly all season. And with that, folks, wherever you're finding yourself, be it in the Ozark Mountains or in your backyard, I sure hope you're keeping those feet in the water. And until next time, tight lines.